everyone, we're going to find all local extreme values of the graph of f of x equals the square root of sine x plus cosine of x by using second derivatives, and we're restricted between 0 and 2 pi. All right, so to find the local extreme values, we first have to take the first derivative, so f prime of x, and this is the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x, so it's just going to be square root of 3 cosine of x. And derivative of cosine of x is negative sine of x. Now, if you set this to 0 to find your tangents, we get 0 equals square root of 3 cosine of x minus sine of x. So I'm going to add sine of x to both sides. So you get sine of x equals square root of 3 cosine of x. All right, and then divide both sides by cosine, and you get sine of x divided by cosine of x equals square root of 3, and this just equals tan of x. So between 0 and pi divided by 2, we have x equals pi divided by 3, and x equals 4 pi divided by 3. Now, this is our first derivative right here. So now let's take the second derivative to see if we can find the min and max values. So this was our first derivative, and we had set this to 0. All right. So when you take the second derivative, you're going to get derivative of cosine is negative sine. So it's going to be negative square root of 3 sine of x. And derivative of sine is cosine, so minus cosine of x. Now, to find your min and max, we're going to evaluate our second derivative at x is pi divided by 3 and x is 4 pi divided by 3. So let's do the first one. F double prime of pi divided by 3. This gives us negative square root of 3 sine of pi divided by 3 minus cosine of pi divided by 3. This is going to give you equals negative square root of 3 times square root of 3 divided by 2 minus 1/2. This is going to equal negative 2. Now, negative 2 is negative. Since it's negative, this is going to be a local maximum. And I'm going to show you the graph in just a minute. Now let's do f double prime for pi divided by 3. And that's going to give you, let's see, negative square root of 3 sine of 4 pi divided by 3 minus cosine of 4 pi divided by 3. That's going to give you the same thing we had, which is going to be negative square root of 3, but we're going to have negative here, so it's going to be negative square root of 3 divided by 2 minus a negative 1/2. And this is going to give you a positive 2, which is positive. So that means we're going to have a local minimum at this point here. Now the graph is kind of drew it here. So remember at f double prime of pi divided by 3, that was equal to negative 2, which is negative. So basically that means you have negative here. That means it's a local max. And at f double prime of 4 pi divided by 3, that gave you a positive 2, and that's positive. So that means the graph here is going up. You always look on the right side of this point here. Now the only thing we don't have is what the exact value is. So we're going to substitute in f of pi divided by 3 and f of 4 pi divided by 3 to get these values. All right, so for this one we're going to get, and we're going back to this equation here, so you get square root of 3 sine of pi divided by 3 plus cosine of pi divided by 3. This is going to equal square root of 3 times square root of 3 divided by 2 plus 1/2. This equals 2. So this value here, you have a local max at 2. For this one here, we have square root of 3 times sine of 4 pi divided by 3 plus cosine of 4 pi divided by 3. This is going to give you negative square root of 3 times square root of 3 divided by 2 minus 1/2. This gives you negative 2. So this y value is at negative 2. This one's at 2. And this is your local minimum value, equals negative 2 at x equals 4 pi divided by 3. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.